Today, I am absolutely delighted to speak with my dear friend and a colleague, Susan Bratton. She is an intimacy expert to thousands, if not millions, of people. And part of the reason that we are talking today is because our ability to connect with that side of ourselves really represents a holistic expression of who we are as people. And I think it's something that we don't really talk enough about. As women, we tend to be very quiet or not express information or questions about our intimate life. And really, it's something that affects us or impacts us, I should say, across our entire lifespan. And so Susan is here to talk with us about ageless sexuality. Susan, thank you so much for being here.
Hello, my darling Mira. It's so nice to see you and your beautiful face today. And thank you for having a conversation about ageless sexuality. I really hold a place in my heart for all people to believe, to let go of the limiting belief that sex is not for the older people. At 61, I can tell you that I'm having the best sex of my life. And I'm doing that for a number of reasons, one of which is that I've just become better at it over time because I have more skill and mastery, which is one of the benefits of sex in your midlife and beyond, is that you've got some experience under your belt. You have less concern about what you look like. You see your mortality on the horizon and you understand that life is to be savored and that your intimacy can be a part of the fuel of your own vitality and your own creativity and your own passion. You want the heart connection. It moves from being friction to connection. It moves from being just having sex to a desire to make love. You have a time to slow down. You have a willingness to experiment in ways that you didn't when you were younger and you thought things were supposed to be the way they were. And now that you're older, you're like, well, I'm just going to make up my own rules now. And so that combined with regenerative therapies and treatments that fix the things that break with age, which I'd love to talk to you about as part of this. Sure. Those two things in combination, the wisdom, the confidence of being that crone who's like, ain't nobody gonna tell me what to do anymore. I'm the decider. Those things really come into play in your sex life if your sex life is important to you and you allow them to. And so it's such a great topic. And I have so much information to talk to you about with regard to what our anatomy is really like. We've got all kinds of brand new information coming out about the clitoris that I want to share with you because it's incredible. I want to talk about how come sex has not been as satisfying as it could because it's been very patriarchal rather than matriarchal. So I'd love to touch on that. And I'd like to talk about how our bodies work and what we need to do to have the kind of sex that works for us. I'd love to describe some of that, as well as talk about some of these really easy, simple regenerative practices that make your genitals thrum with pleasure and youth again.
And I love that you are able to talk about such a wide variety of topics related to this. No, seriously, I think one of the things that's so challenging is for so many of us in middle school, we get segmented into the boys and the girls in the gym, and we have this sort of very weird talk, and that's about it. Yeah. And then we have to navigate and figure out the rest of it on our own. Yeah. And I also love that you talk about the fact that at a certain point, it's like, who cares what anybody else thinks?
That's right.
If you're in a committed relationship, there is a level, hopefully, of trust and comfortability that allows you to be able to engage on a deeper level. And you also hopefully have learned to know your body a little bit better. And so I love that you can talk about that as well, because unfortunately, so many of us don't necessarily take the time or the attention to really understand our own structure, how we're put together. So could we start with that?
Yes. And I would also say that if we're single, it is also a really grand time for experimentation, having new experiences, allowing ourselves to try things we've never tried before. One of the things I can tell you that is a trend, I'm currently working on my sex trends for 2023. Every year I come out and I do a sex trends for the next year. What's happening? And one of them is that there is very much a groundswell of middle-aged women who are really stepping into their sexuality with oomph, with like, I am going to explore this part of me. Maybe I'm divorced now and I've let go of a partner that wasn't serving me, or I didn't have pleasure with, or whatever it might be. It is my time. I feel like for so many women, it is their time. More and more women are finding themselves having relationships across the gender spectrum, moving away from just heterosexual to maybe not full-on lesbianism, but certainly becoming more close to women, having more physical touch and intimacy with other women than they would have at a younger age. So whether that's helping their younger friends explore ecstatic births, or giving each other yoni massages, or even just sensual massages, or cuddling up together, or just being willing to share your bodies, nude bodies with each other, or trying kissing or things like that. Women are dipping their toes into the women's water more and more, especially at midlife and beyond.
I did not realize that.
Yeah.
And
that just opened up a whole new opportunity.
And I think you're so right, because I led with if you're in a relationship, because that's my paradigm. Yep. And we have to remember that there are lots of different parameters and different combinations that happen. And again, it all, I believe, probably comes back to the root of understanding yourself, how your body works, and what works for you.
And a lot of
look to you to help us understand that a little better.
Yeah, I think a lot of women and men, a lot of people across the gender spectrum are midlife and beyond. They're thinking about who appeals to them, what human. They're not looking necessarily at gender. They're looking at, oh, I love to be with this person. I'm going to just get closer to them. I'm not going to worry about the constraints of what I've been told I can do. I'm going to do what I want to do. It's an I'm going to do what I want to do era. And I think that when I say those things out loud, it just empowers more people to be like, yeah, me too.
That's so interesting. And I think I'm curious, are there clearly defined age cohorts that respond in a different way across the spectrum, so that we finally get to this midlife era where we hopefully are able to be a little more relaxed with how we treat ourselves, maybe don't talk so bad to ourselves, maybe in touch a little more with ourselves? Does that fall across certain age categories, or is it just this time, place, in space continuum where people are at least more communicative or more open about that?
It's a combination of those two things. It's a combination of life stage and cultural moire. The life stages are, I'm 20 and I don't know anything about sex, so I'm just going to have some of it and see how it goes. And it's also new. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, isn't this interesting? How fun. Yeah. And when you're 30, you're like, oh, I don't know. I'm working on my kids. I'm working on my career. I'm focused. I don't know. I'll do what I can do. When you're in your 40s, you're like, oh, now my kids are grown up and I haven't spent any time on my sex life, but it's still important to me. And I actually want to have my sexual awakening. I'd like to find my G-spot, right? And so I'd like to have an orgasm from intercourse. How come I haven't? And so then you get into your 50s and you're like, I'm starting to feel my mortality. And I had a few good experiences in my 40s, and I want to capitalize and keep the momentum going, because I don't know how much longer I'll be attractive. And then you get to your 60s and you're like, oh shit, I'm still as attractive. I might even be more attractive than I was before. Oh my God, look at that. I'm a beautiful woman. Oh, wow. I look at my 80-year-old mother and I think to myself, my body looks like hers. Hers looks like mine. It's not that much difference. Wow, I guess women are absolutely gorgeous until the day they die. Holy cow. That's amazing. Okay, that makes me feel better. I'll just be more relaxed about everything. And boy, I really like this slow, sensual experiences that I'd like to have. And there's 3 more things I'd like to learn. And I'd like to have a couple of partners or whatever it is. You begin to let go of, like in your 30s, you're super judgmental about everything because you're basically individuating. So you have to judge everything to figure out what you like. That's your process for individuation. In your 40s, you become a little bit more accepting of others. In your 50s, you finally become a little more accepting of yourself. And in your 60s, you don't give a damn anymore. You're just gonna have fun. Girls just want to have fun. And so then you're like, maybe I could date a younger man. Oh, I've never had sex with a black guy because I've always been afraid to piss off my black girlfriends, but I think I'd like to do it. Like you just start to think about the thing. I'm going to get all 5 of those sex toys Susan Bratton talked about for orgasmic cross training because I want to have all the orgasms, like whatever it is. You just start to be, I don't give a shit. I'm doing it. And so I think that, and when you get into your 70s, if you're still having a good sex life in your 60s, you sail right into your 70s as long as you know about these regenerative practices, because parts start to break down, Mira, and you gotta do some repair under the hood. But it's there and it's available, and a lot of it doesn't even cost much. So that's an important part of ageless sexuality, is you can't expect to be the woman who never has a problem. You have to know that there are things you can do. And a lot of women are like, wow, I didn't even know I got 3 of those things. I didn't even know any of the stuff we could do. That's cool. So we'll definitely touch on regenerative therapies and treatments.
So what are some of the regenerative therapies
Yeah.
or things that people should be thinking?
Concept of sexual biohacking, generally of biohacking.
Biohacking,
They
sure.
talk about the stack. They always talk about these things that you do that you do together, that are synergistic, that work together to make you a more high performance person or what have you. This sexual biohacking or regenerative therapies are very similar to that. There's like a group of things you can do that together that work very well. And here's what they are. The very first one is nitric oxide supplementation. I run a publishing company publishing passionate lovemaking techniques. And my other company is a company that is a supplement company, and we make 2 products. And the 2 products that we make, and we make them very specifically for this reason, they are derivative of natural foods, organic foods. My nitric oxide supplement is called Flow, F-L-O-W. It's made from organic watermelon rind that I get the citrulline out of, and fermented spinach that I take the nitrites out of, and pine bark, which has a tannin that is fabulous for blood flow. And essentially what happens is that we have nitric oxide that works on our vascular system to relax it and let our blood flow to our brain when we're thinking, to our heart when we're exercising, and to all of our parts, including our genitals, when we're making love and getting aroused. And as we age, we have less nitric oxide production, shunting the blood where it needs to go. And we need blood in our pelvis when we're aroused for a number of reasons. Number one, our clitoris, if I took my clitoris out and put it in my hand and showed it to you, it would cover up my hand.
Wow.
We think about our clitoris as the tip, which is the glands, the tip of the iceberg. But that's 5% of our clitoris. 95% of our clitoris is inside us. And it literally would fill up your hand. It's the head, the shaft, the arms, and the legs. It's called the clitoral body. And it looks like a little organ. And it's erectile tissue with some nerves and some other spongy tissue. And what it needs is blood flow. Basically, most of us women have been having intercourse before we've been fully engorged and gotten the blood flowing to that clitoral body. And we have 2 other erectile tissue structures, the urethral sponge, which is, some people call it a G spot. It's not a spot, it's just a giant sponge, and the perineal sponge. 3 erectile tissue systems surrounding our vaginal opening and our vaginal canal. And yet we're focused on the tip, supposedly because the latest data is also, by the way, that there's 10,000 nerve endings. Apparently the 8,000 was a bovine study. So
Oh,
they're
wow.
finally doing studies of our genital anatomy. And you know why? Thank our trans folks. They're doing dissections of cadavers, of female cadavers, to study the clitoral structures, because they need to know where the nerves go when they do sex change operations.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that so interesting? So we're finally in this era getting this information, and we need the blood flow to go to the clitoris so that it grows and it gets erect like our partner's penis does. And then that expands the surface area, which gives us more signals of pleasure that go to the brain. So we have more easier to achieve orgasm, more intensity of orgasm, more volume of orgasm, more time of orgasm. And when we don't get that engorgement, when we don't have enough blood in our pelvis, we can't get it. So we end up losing orgasmic intensity and feeling over time. Orgasms don't feel as well. And so you can get the intensity back doing that and a couple of other things. The other piece of the way our vagina works is our vagina is a muscle. It's not a gland. It doesn't have any wetting or lubrication in it. The way we lubricate is not, and a lot of women are like, oh, my hormones are down, so I'm dry. Yes, estrogen affects the tissue depth, how much tissue there is, but it's actually nitric oxide that has to come into the pelvic bowl and go through the layers of vaginal mucosa so that it wets the lining so we get lubricated. So a lot of women think I'm dry because of estrogen, when really they're nitric oxide deficient. They're not eating their leafy green vegetables, kale, dill, spinach, romaine, arugula, beet cabbage. These are the things that are nitrites that our mouth converts to nitrates, because there's bacteria in our tongue that convert it to nitrates. Except if we use antibacterial mouthwash, we don't have that. We ruin our nitric oxide. Then our stomach acid converts the nitrates into nitric oxide. It goes into our salivary pump system, and we have that for our vascular blood flow. But if we take proton pump inhibitors or acid blockers, it ruins that. So we're already not eating enough vegetables, although your fans are probably the only ones eating enough vegetables.
I do talk about veggies a lot. I guess there's a whole new reason to do that.
Exactly. Beetroots and greens, I cook, and they're great for methylation. I mean, they keep you younger. This is what you want to eat to stay young. And so you've got to top your nitric oxide systems up. So Flow is a really nice product because it's made of citrulline. It's an organic fruit and vegetable product. I'll give you a link for it. It's Buy Flow Now, BUYFLOWNOW. That's what I give away on podcasts to my friends, because it's the lowest price you can buy it for, with the best shipping and the whole thing. It's my discount page. So that's ground zero. You want to start by the time you're 40, you want to start topping up your nitric oxide and beefing up your leafy greens and beets in gestation. Get off the antibacterial mouthwash, get off the proton pump inhibitors. Keep that blood flow going. You need that. Or you'll have edema, you'll have cold hands and feet, you'll start getting brain fog, you'll start getting heart disease. It adds, everything is about nitric oxide. And then the second piece of it is that there are a couple of treatments and tools that you can use, because the basic women's issues are incontinence, loss of lubrication, painful sex, which is thinning of the tissue. And the ways that you remediate that are, and loss of orgasmic intensity, which is such a slow decline, you don't realize it till you get it back and you're like, oh my God, I didn't realize how much I'd lost. So the way that I like to do it is I like to start with something called the V-Fit Gold. I have one around here. Look, I have one right here. I talk about it a lot. This is an intravaginal device, V-Fit Gold. It's at joylux.com/Susan. They do a special package for me because I talk about them all the time. It has red light therapy, photobiomodulation up inside your vagina, stimulates new vaginal mucosal lining growth. So it remodels the glycogen. It keeps the microbiome good. It helps also with tightening and toning. It has a small vibration. It's not a sex toy. It's doing Kegels for you. And it's warm. So it's recollagenating the vaginal mucosa. So the red light, the tone, the warmth really help with the vagina itself, making it lubricated, engorged, helping grow that tissue so it's nice and youthful. That's for the inside of the vagina. Then for the whole urinary, clitoral, and labial system, because one of the other depressing things about getting old is that your labia starts to sag and it looks like old man balls. So if you want like a nice plump, young looking vulva, because hey, if you're out there dating or whatever, you don't want to look like an old lady. As Joan Rivers said, oh my God, I looked down, it looked like there were bunny slippers down there. I thought that was so cute, like little fuzzy bunny slippers kind of like hanging down their little ears. Femiwave is, it goes outside the body. It's acoustic waves that go into the labia, the clitoral structure, the perineal structure, and in the urinary structure, and helps stimulate new tissue growth. So there are femiwave practitioners. They're usually also gains wave practitioners, which is what they do to the penis to rejuvenate and reverse the atrophy of the penis and help reverse erectile dysfunction for men. So
So the femiwave helps with external blood flow.
Yeah.
And
helps with all the other parts. The VFit really just helps intravaginally inside the vagina.
Okay.
But the femiwave does everything.
Okay.
So if you're having a lot of it, it helps with incontinence too. The VFit helps with
Really?
incontinence. Yes, it does. It's shoring up that pelvic musculature and toning and tightening up in there. So it helps. But if you're really starting to have a lot of urge incontinence, like you can't get the key in the front door and you're going to pee your pants, or you start to go to the bathroom and urine's leaking out before you get your pants down, or you're coughing, laughing, sneezing, both of these modalities are going to help reverse that loss of muscle tone and laxity of both the vagina gets lax and the muscles get lax as we age. So the femiwave and the VFit work together. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I was just curious. So is there like a significant percentage of women that will experience that? Because I have to say that hasn't happened to me yet. You hear about it and it's does not sound like fun.
It's a pain in the butt and it happens to me. I use my VFit all the time and I nip it in the bud, but then it comes back. And I also get my femiwave, but it comes back as I age. And I do yoga, I work out, I lift weights, I mountain bike, I walk. I know you're very beach
fit.
stairs.
I know. I saw you mountain hiking in the mountains.
So it's like, it just happens to some of us. Yeah. And incontinence is literally the #1 reason that women have to be moved from their homes in their old age and go into care facilities is because of incontinence. It's the #1 reason women can't take care of that anymore. And so the more you can do to keep your pelvic floor super fit, the better off you are. And then there's a third piece of this, and it's called the O shot or orgasm. Have you heard of it?
I have. I actually have a friend in the area who is a practitioner. She's a holistic gynecologist who does that.
Oh, perfect. Who's that?
Yeah, her name is Dr. Tamara Camo.
Camo.
Yeah. So she's in this area and she does that.
Yeah. And are you in Dallas?
No, I'm near Houston.
Houston. Okay, Houston. So the O shot uses something called PRP or platelet-rich plasma. And that's basically your own blood taken out, 1 vial, put in a centrifuge. The red and white blood cells are removed. And what's left is the healing and growth factors from your own blood taken right out of your own body in the procedure, put into a very tiny little syringe. You're numbed with a little lidocaine, and they inject that into the clitoral body, like the thing I was talking about that you would look like a little organ you would hold in your hand. They inject it there, and they inject it in the G spot or in the urethral sponge to shore up that pelvic bowl so that it holds up the bladder. And that stimulates new tissue growth and vascularization. So you're replacing the tissue lost from atrophy of aging. We desiccate as we age. We dry out, we shrink, we're shrinking. So if you got wrinkles on your face, you're desiccating inside, you're losing tissue. And The O shot can be combined with the VFit, can be combined with the FemiWave, and with a solid base of nitric oxide supplementation and eating your leafy greens and beets, that will regenerate all of this tissue. So it's just incredible. I used to have to send women out for very painful CO2 lasering that basically just burned the crap out of the vaginal mucosa. Oh, my vagina would weep for days, and it hurts so much. And now I don't have to do I don't have to send you to anything painful. That was Stone Age 1.0 crap. Now, some women might need it. They try these things and they're like, I'm still peeing my pants. Then you maybe got to go for the big guns where you really got to do some deep wounding to get some deep stimulation of new tissue growth. But that's last resort stuff now.
In addition to all of that, the thing that's so funny is you're talking about all of these different therapies and food, of course, which I love. Food is always a good thing to add into any healing modality. I know for so many of us, after a certain age, about 35-ish, you go to the gynecologist for your annual exam and they're like, okay, are you doing your Kegels? So why do they focus so much on Kegels as the thing that you should do when it sounds like there's actually all these other things that need to be incorporated in order to help keep that tissue healthy and working well in order for you to be able to enjoy that ageless sexuality?
You're really asking me why our allopathic care system is failing women in gynecology? Like, Mira, come on. Yeah. It's completely screwed up. This is why there's an entire industry of regenerative doctors actually fixing the problems, because they're not taught anything like this in medical school. They don't get the training. It's not the business. They're a pharmaceutical pill pushing business, and they fix breaks and fractures and all that kind of, they take out your tumors and things. This is not what they do. You have to take your sexuality into your own hands. It's your responsibility. And you have to take your regenerative treatments and your biohacking and all the things you're doing to stay young in your own hands. Nobody's looking out for you for that stuff.
And yeah, no, it's such a good point, because I know that, and there are some fabulous doctors out there, but I think in general, this is not something that, one of the other things that I find so fascinating, because I do, of course, have clients that I'm not someone who specializes in sexuality. I specialize in gut health. People are in your office, they talk to you about things.
Hey, they're one and the same.
It's fascinating to me how many people, their practitioners, care more about the sexual health of the male partner than they do about the sexual health of the female partner.
Everything's about ED, and we have the same amount of erectile tissue in our clitoral structure, and nobody's talking about our ED. Nobody's talking about our orgasmic intensity loss. Nobody's talking about any of that stuff. The best people can do is talk about incontinence. And I think it's just the patriarchal allopathic view is that men are superior to women, and we are just chattel vessels, whatever we are. That's another thing. I have this new thing, and honestly, I'd love to have your idea on this. I'm trying to come up with the right way to say this, but it's like, basically what I want to say is, I'm really focused on this difference between matriarchal and patriarchal sex. We've been having patriarchal sex with our partners, whether they're men or women. We've been having this patriarchal sex because that's what we see in movies. It's just modeled that sex means intercourse. And yet, what a woman wants is, we want our hair stroked. We want our cheeks kissed. We want our clavicles kissed. We want full body massage. We want foot rubs. We want you to adore us verbally, worship us, tell us what you love about us, why we're so beautiful to you. We want full body touch, sensual massage. We don't want you to grab our nipples and grab our crotch. We want you to lightly brush your fingers over everything. We want you to love our bellies and our asses. We want you to give us yoni massages, tantric lovemaking word for our female genital system. The masculine penis and testicles, that's called the lingam. So I like to use those words because they're spiritual sexuality, they're reverential. So we want manual massage so you can get in there and get all that clitoral tissue plumped up so we get our erections. We want oral pleasuring. We want deep, languid kissing. We want beautiful music, some strawberries, nice soft towels,
A little champagne.
lighting that makes, what'd you say?
A little champagne.
A little champagne, some lighting that makes us look beautiful, candlelight, a fireplace. We want all of those types of things. We don't want sex where you get to penetrate us when you're ready and we're not. Like we've been penetrated 1,000,000 times before we were ready, and you came and we didn't. Screw you. Screw all of you. Screw the media business. Screw the porn industry. Screw every sex expert who says, you have to touch the clitoris to give a woman an orgasm. Women can't orgasm from intercourse. The hell we can't. If they knew what they were talking about, they'd understand that our vaginas are wrapped in erectile tissue. If they would just look at the pictures and look at the anatomy and slow the hell down and make love to us. When we get turned on, when we're relaxed, we're safe, we're comfortable, we're loved, we're adored, we're sensually pleasured and turned on. Our yonis open, they want you inside them. And when we're engorged fully and turned on and comfortable, we have orgasms without even touching the 10,000 nerve endings because our whole vulva is clitoral tissue. Our whole vulva is our erection. But we never get to get there because guys who we're having sex with, and it's not their fault because they're ready to go. They get hard-ons fast. They're full of testosterone. They masturbate every day. They're always thinking about sex. We're on a moon cycle. And so we've been rushed for sex our whole life. And we think, oh, we just can't have an orgasm from intercourse. Oh, yeah, you can. You can totally have orgasms the whole time you're being penetrated.
Exactly. Backing up to that whole holistic connection. We are whole body beings. It is about how we think, how we feel, and then physically how we feel as well. So I love that you've shared so much information with us. This has been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Yeah. Susan, thank you so much for sharing your tremendous amount of knowledge on this topic. And I also love your energy and your enthusiasm about that, helping to change the paradigm of that conversation. So thank you for that. And as always, I appreciate you. So thank you so much. All right. We will talk with you later, folks. Thanks so much for checking it out. All the links will be down below. Do not forget to click and subscribe.